Hello guys! Today, we're comparing the Big Five European countries versus the rest of Europe. So, which are the Big Five? They are Spain, Italy, France, the United Kingdom, and Germany. Let's give a welcome to our YouTube channel members. On one side, we have 5 countries, on the other, more than 40. Looking at area, the Big Five cover over 2 million square kilometers, which is 1.37% of the world's land area. The rest of Europe, meanwhile, spans 8.1 million square kilometers, accounting for 5.25%. For population, the Big Five have 324.8 million people, or 4.1% of the global population. The rest of Europe has 423.2 million, which is 5.3%. This leads to a population density of 158.3 per square kilometer for the Big Five, compared to 52 for the rest of Europe. Economically, the nominal GDP is $14.44 trillion for the Big Five and $9.58 trillion for the rest of Europe. GDP per capita sits at $44,458 for the Big Five and $22,637 for the rest. In terms of PPP, the GDP is $17.82 trillion versus $16.41 trillion, with PPP per capita around $55,000 and $38,375 respectively. The gender ratio shows 991 males per 1,000 females in the Big Five, and 1,000 males per 1,004 females in the rest of Europe. For internet users, the Big Five have 295 million, covering 90.8% of their population. The rest of Europe has 333 million users, a coverage of 78.6%. Christianity is the most followed religion in both regions, with 207 million followers in the Big Five and 245 million in the rest of Europe. The number of billionaires is 315 versus 277. In our military comparison, active personnel are 816,600 against 1.37 million. For battle tanks, it's 4,659 versus a much larger 21,711. Aircraft numbers are 3,707 compared to 6,773. The Big Five have 6 aircraft carriers, while the rest of Europe has 1. For submarines, it's 378 versus 89. Nuclear weapons are 508 for the Big Five and 5,984 for the rest. The defense budget is $208 billion versus $122 billion. The strongest military power from the Big Five is France, with a global rank of 7. From the rest of Europe, Russia holds the number 2 rank, the United Kingdom is at 8, and Ukraine's military is ranked 22nd. Looking at Olympic performance, total medals are 3,698 versus 5,040. Gold medals are 1,177 versus 1,518, silver is 1,225 versus 1,663, and bronze is 1,296 versus 1,859. The HDI is 0.936, very high, for the Big Five, and 0.838, also very high, for the rest. The most spoken language in the Big Five is German, with 82 million speakers, followed by English with 65 million. In the rest of Europe, Russian leads with 110 million, and Polish has 36 million speakers. Religion is dominated by Christianity in both, followed by no religion, Islam, and others. The age structure for 0 to 14 years is 13.96% versus 15.1%. For 15 to 64 years, it's 64.36% versus 64.3%. For those over 65, it's 21.69% versus 20.6%. Now for population growth over time. In 1900, 191 million versus 310 million. In 1925, 211 million versus 370 million. In 1950, 236 million versus 413 million. In 1975, 279 million versus 481 million. In 2000, 300 million versus 505 million. In 2022, 328.4 million versus 542 million. The population growth rate from 1900 to 2022 was 170% for the Big Five and a much higher 384% for the rest of Europe. The birth rate is 1.54 births per woman versus 1.47. The death rate is 11.5 per 1,000 people versus 11.4. Finally, the poverty rate is 4.9% for the Big Five and 9.8% for the rest of Europe. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel.